Hi everyone. Today we will look at the one article that is written by your examiner, Shishamal, for P4. He wrote this in November article, and everyone is guessing that it may come out for this particular December 2011, or perhaps in the future examination diet. Now, what we're going to see in the first part here is we're going to determine the interest rate forward rates, how to determine interest rates forward, and the second part is going to be application to swap valuation. Now, in determining the interest rates forwards, so how do you determine interest rates forwards? Now, looking at a simple example here, this company or the bank quotes the rates at annual spot yield curve. If you borrow 1 year, it's going to be 3.5%. If you go to borrow for 2 years, then it's going to be 4.6% annually, and 5.4% annually for if you're going to borrow for 3 years, and if it's going to borrow for 5 years, it's going to be 6.3%. Now, what does it say here is that if you're going to pay interest for 1 year, you got to pay 3.5%. Okay? If you want to borrow for 2 years, it's 4.6% per year if you want to borrow the sum for 2 years. If you want to borrow for 3 years, you got to pay 5.4%. Alternatively, you can borrow a 2-year loan. That means you can borrow a 2-year loan. That means you're splitting the 2-year into a year and another year. The first year you pay 3.5%, and then after that you will borrow another fresh 1 more year for another one more time. So basically you can break it down. First year 3.5, and the following year you will borrow at another rate. Now this is going to be the forward rate that we're going to determine today. So you have a choice. You can borrow 4.6% for 2 years per annum, or you can go for 3.5% today. 1 year later, you're going to borrow another rate at 1%. So basically, if you talk about FRA, at the 12th month, you're going to borrow fresh, and you're going to borrow for 1 year. So at the end of 24 months, you're going to come out. So an FRA that you're going to create will be 1224 FRA for 1 more year. Now, how do you calculate that one? Well, it's going to be like this. It's going to be like this. Calculating interest rates forwards. How much will the bank quote you? Okay, how much is the bank going to quote you at today's rates? Okay, based on today's rates, we have 2 rates here. One is 3.5 and 4.6. Okay, so based on that one, we're going to say if you borrow for 2 years, you're going to take it up as each year by itself. So first year is 3.5, second year is we don't know. That's going to be your FRA rates, forward rates. Okay, and you're going to make sure that it's going to be indifferent borrowing today at 4.6% for 2 years. So it's going to be 1.046 multiplied by 1.046. In other words, you get the power of 2. So we're going to get a rate here. Solving it, we're going to get a rate here of 5.71% per annum. So instead of paying 4.6% for 2 years, you can pay the first year 3.5%. The following year, you pay 5.71%. Now we can prove it. Let's say a loan amount, let's say for fun, we'll take, let's say, a loan amount of 10,000. If you take a loan amount of 10,000, the year 1, the interest will be 10,000 times with 3.5% will give you 350. Year 2, it will be 10,000. This time it's going to be 5.71%. You're going to get 571. Total up, you're going to get 9 to 1 if you do it separately. Alternatively, you could borrow for 2 years, year 1 and year 2, 10,000. You can borrow at a rate that is already determined today, 4.6% for 2 years, which will give you around 920. It's more or less the same. So you can borrow first year at 3.5 and forward rate next year. You can book it now. You can lock the rate now itself at 5.71%. This is what the bank will quote for you. So this is what you have here. But let's say if you want to find an FRA for the third year, so we have 5.71. Similarly, if you want to know the FRA rate for 3 years from today, then it's going to be for year 3. So it's going to be 1.035 multiplied by 1.0571 multiplied by 1 plus x, which is equals to borrowing for a 3-year period. It's at a rate of 5.4%. Lock-in rate 1.054 for 3 times. So in other words, is equals to 3 times of the rates here. Solving it, you're going to get around 7.02%. So 7.02% is going to be the FRA rate for year 3. In other words, FRA for year 3 meaning 24 versus 36. Get it? Alright? Now, so coming back here, you got 7.02, and you can do the same thing for year 4, and you can do the same thing for year 5. The way we did it just now, you can do it the same way. Okay, so this is what you get here. This is going to be your annual forward rates for the interest. So in this case, if you borrow the first year, you're going to take 3.5. 3.5 times this one is equals to borrowing this one for 2 years. Okay? You can take 3.5 times this one, and this one is equals to borrowing this for 3 years. Okay? Now, so come to the conclusion. Supposing the company wants to borrow a sum of money for 3 years. So if you want to borrow for 3 years, you have 3 choices actually. 3 choices is, first, you can just take 5.4 for 3 years. So it's going to be something like that. 3 years, choice. You can take 1.054. So you borrow for 3 years. Or you can take any amount of loan if you want. Let's say 10,000 of loan. Or you can take 10,000 of loan. You borrow for, first year you pay 3.5%. Next year you pay 5.71%. The third year you pay 7.02%. So you got a choice, 1.035 multiplied by 1.0571 multiplied by 1.0702. Your answer should be the same. Or you could borrow at 10,000 for the third year, will be using, you could pay at 4.6 for the first 2 years. That means you're going to go for the forward only for the third year. This is the forward for the third year only. Okay? So you can go for 1.046. This is for the 2 years. And the last one, you go for the forward. Well, ideally, all should give you the same answer. Okay? So with principal plus interest, you're going to get 11709. Here also will be 11709. Here also will be 11709. Okay, around that 11709. So this is how we determine annual forward interest rates. So this is the first part of this November 2011 article written by your examiner, 谢谢帽子. Thank you very much.